Hey guys, it's Carol and thank you for stopping by for my stitching update. This is everything through the end of April 2024 and I am really pleased that I was able to not just get a decent amount of work done on my projects that I had in rotation for a month, but I also managed to get a finish. And we're just going to start with that. My DesignWorks kit Start Doing is done. It's a relatively small project. Shouldn't have take as long as it did, but it did. Here's what it was last time. And here's the finished piece. I got this done on April 25th. I'm just happy it's done. It's a relatively small project. I ended up really liking the stitching on the dark fabric, which is not something I've done a huge amount of. So overall, I count this as a success. The only thing that I was not thrilled about is all of the back stitching on this letter. Every single letter is outlined, and there were it was one 36-inch length of navy floss to work with, and I ran out. I mean, it's not I got everything done except for this G right here, so I had to kind of find a close enough in stash because the stated DMC color is not the actual color it turned out to be, which is fine because I happen to have that around. I was like, I don't like it, it's a little too bright. So went ahead and substituted in something else, but I don't remember what I used. Like something I pulled out of Winter Queen actually. I mean, it works out fine. You really can't tell a difference, but I just don't think there was enough floss. I had no issues with having enough for any of the other colors, just the back stitching. If it weren't for the fact I just wanted this done, it might have been something I would have reached out to the company about, just because I wasn't doing anything like excessive. I even double checked, how did they ask you to do back stitch? Like, okay, up at 1, come back at 2, and so you basically have a much long, like on the back, it's much more than on the front. And yes, that's which is how I do it. It's exactly what the instructions showed. So I'm like, okay, I'm using this in terms of what they have instructed me as the user who might know nothing about cross stitch, and there just wasn't quite enough. And it sounds very petty, but floss is not that expensive, and I really wish they'd gone ahead and given me like copious amounts of extras. I will say that is something that I really appreciated about the Dimensions kit that I did last year. My sister's been doing a couple Dimensions kits. She's mentioned the exact same thing, that she is never worried about running out of floss. So that was the one like downside, but it's done, it's cute, and I'm thinking of doing this as just a small like cheap frame from one of the big box stores and putting it in my crafting space. One of my other smaller projects also turned up this month, and it is Heartstring Samplery, Be That My Vision. Here's where it was last time. And this is where I am. This is not a huge amount of progress, a little more fill-in on the flower. I do love that the color for this, when I see it in the skein, reads to me as very green, and then the lighter blue. But then when you put it in the flower, it looks so wonderfully like pale blue with a green tint. Like I said, in the skein, it looks just like straight up green. I was like, why am I putting this in a flower? No, it looks fantastic. I just love how colors do that sometimes. Like, they release so much, your perception of them is based on what you see around them, not the actual color itself. I don't know, I've had these discussions. People say, oh, it's just white. No, have you ever seen just white? White goes blue, white goes yellow, like white can go green, depending on if you like, say you have a room that's surrounded by a lot of the light reflecting off your outside is trees and grass. Your room will be green, even though the walls are white. Just one of those things. Anyway, so the word here, thought, which you only have a H and a T for, I actually did the entire word. Realized I was exactly one column too far to the left, and I had to rip the word out. And this is after I'd already been like frogging various letters because I wasn't paying a great bit of attention when I was working. So for the last week, actually a lot of my projects have had the, I messed it up, I have to go take it back and rework on it. And I don't love it, but you know what? I'm always happy afterwards that I have. So even though at one point this actually looks much more complete than it does right now, I am happy that the words would not have lined up correctly on the left side. It would have driven me crazy, and I couldn't. So it's coming along. This is one that I am going to be focusing on just because I would like to have it done. Next up is a piece that I seem to have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with. That is Modern Folk Embroidery's Fruit of Plenty. This is the 2021 Stitch Along, and it is huge. Here's what it was last time. And this is where I am now. Still working in here, hence when I'm like, it's the love-hate relationship. It's just that it's not even so much that it's tedious. It looks fantastic. It just takes a while to stitch. It's fine. I mean, I'm tracking along. There's not much more to this, and then this space is big and open, and I'll get to that halfway point actually relatively quickly. I will say, one thing I do love about this one, it's now at the point there is so much going on that when I put it into the hoop and I'm stitching on it, I just look at everything else I've done and I love it. I love this piece. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I think it's just I got burnt out on it at one point last year, so I just didn't get as much done as I wanted to. I mean, if you'll remember, I actually hoped to have this finished last year. It didn't happen. Kind of like part of me hopes to get it done this year, but I don't have a plan for putting the time to get it done, so be realistic, it probably won't happen this year, but in the meantime, I do, like I said, I love how it looks. I'm trying to put this as more of like a daily piece, not really like a plan, just a pick up and do a little bit every single day. We'll see how that goes. It might work, it might not. I might burn out on it again. We'll see, but like I said, in the meantime, I am happy with the fact that I'm almost done with this part right here. The project that I finished out April with is Ink Circles Designs Tapestry. Here's where it was last time. And this is my current place. You'll note I do not have the fabric like centered up. This is actually pretty much true to center. If anything, it's slightly shifted that way by like maybe 1/4 inch. But anyway, just so that you could see it all as I'm holding it in the frame, I have completed this entire like center. So all of these little, I mentioned last time, the bird things, whatever, this one wasn't done, and I needed to finish over here. Those are done. This flower went in, came out, went in halfway, came all the way out. Yeah, I told you, April was a lot of frogging. Actually, a lot of 2024 has been a lot of frogging. And I don't know if it's because I haven't necessarily, and I'll be off, it's never by a lot. In the case of this one, I just had not counted the stem. It was one short. So then this was trying to run into the leaves. I'm like, oh, this is a problem. So ultimately, when I realized it, I was so frustrated because I'd already struggled with this a couple times. And then I realized, you know what? Okay, it's fine. Like, walk away from things. I walked away for half a day, didn't cross stitch anything that day. I was doing other stuff, and it was, afterwards it was fine. Like, sometimes you just kind of have to take those breaks, realize, yeah, I'm gonna do this correctly, I'm gonna be happy with it, because if I hadn't done, like, okay, this would have all been wrong, so I was gonna have to rip it out, and even if I was like, okay, fine, I'm fine with it touching here, this is mirrored, this is symmetrical on all the axes, so actually not just your north, south, east, west, but also your diagonals. I wasn't going to be able to just leave it. Like, there's things where I mess up one, so what? I do that honestly in like my full coverage. If I have one color and another color like flip-flopped next to each other, okay. I mean, I don't want to do that all the time, but if I have a couple here and there, I don't worry about it, particularly when they're really similar colors. One shade of bluish gray next to the slightly grayer blue gray, and I switch them, okay, no big deal. I wasn't going to be able to do that, so it was fine. I frogged it. The only thing, so this is all done in Weeks Dye Works. I did find one of these that I had to frog, which was, oh, I'd started here, and it's supposed to be Grecian gold. I was doing it in apple cider because at some point I had put the apple, like it was leftover, just 2 strands, and I had put it on the wrong color because I have the yellows right next to each other. And I was like, wait, that's the wrong color. When I tried taking it back out, like it just shredded, like absolutely. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not using that. So I don't know, I mean, other than that, I don't mind the floss. It's just that kind of struck me as, oh, that was a little weird and unfun. So when I realized that I was gonna have to take out all of, in this point I had, like, it was like literally all of it. It's like, really, am I gonna lose a lot more floss this way? No, the rest of it came out fine. I don't know why it does that. It just, that's how it goes some days. But I am really happy with this. I'm up to the 25% mark on it. I am just thrilled. This is one of my older pieces. I started it in 2018, so I would really like to get it done. I don't have any specific plans for how I'm getting this one done, like in any time frame. I just know that I would like to not have pieces that have been hanging around for over 5 years. Particularly, this is a 200 by 200. It's big, but it's big. It's a medium-sized piece in my world, but it's not particularly difficult cross-stitching. So at one point, I think I set myself up for failure with this piece. I had started in the upper left corner, so this is like the 2-inch margin. There's a 2-inch margin up here. It like just fits. Because I bought this as a fat quarter of fabric, because the LNS I got it from, they pretty much, their default is already cut fat quarters, which, I mean, cool, but it fit, but it's a little tighter than, like, I mean, you've heard me, I have other stuff with 2-inch margins, but it's like not my preference. But anyway, there's enough fabric at the bottom of this, so I was like, oh, okay. So I went ahead and made the top margin match the side margin. Anyway, so it started here, and then I was like, you know what? It's a mandala. I want to do the center. I watch people, particularly like with their chatelaines, and they're all doing like these center starts and going out. It's really beautiful. And it is really cool. I love watching it when I see other people doing it. The problem, I think ultimately, like, and this looks really neat. I like how it's built out, but I get tired of doing the same motif in repetition. Again, this is an incredibly, like, repetitive design, which is fine, but I'm thinking I would have probably been happier if I had, like, just kept going from the top. And I think when I'd gotten to is like, okay, I wanted to at least fill out this big chunk in the center, which I have. That's great. And now I think I'm gonna honestly go back to the top and just work from the top down. It's how I prefer. Even when I do center starts, like, I have tinkered with other ways of doing things, but honestly, the thing seems to be, and I do love center starts, so I'm not about to change that. But I do like the center, work my way up, fill, and then come down. It's just a me preference, and this is a case where a decision I made because I thought it'd be a cool idea turns out to be maybe not the coolest idea for me. So I'm gonna try something different, see if I enjoy. And honestly, I mean, with this over here, it's already not terribly symmetrical anyway, so I might as well just embrace it at this point. In the theme of going with older projects, my next one is Winter Kiss, charted by Heaven Earth Designs, art by Adele Sessler. Here's where it was last time. This one is one of my older pieces as well. I started it in 2017, although I don't know how I'd ever finish it at my current pace, which is fine. I started this page in October of 2022, and I'm about a third of the way down the page. There's 9 rows in total, plus some here at the bottom. These 3 are completely done, and I have made decent headway into filling in on rows 4 and 5. I just think it was why not? I wanted to. This was really the only option I had for full coverage in the projects I had set for April, and I don't know, it was just fun. This is on a 25 count, which 1/1 full cross. I love how it looks. It is not always my favorite, particularly in the evening. If I have ones where I'm like, is that a hole there? Because some of the colors are actually not particularly obvious against this is an ecru lagana, and some of these, like the lighter shades, don't stick out. Like, they're pretty much the fabric color, and I'm like, oh, can't tell. When it's in the evening, my eyes are tired, not great lighting, all of that. Like, everything is always with the caveat. With the right lighting, you can, in magnification, I use readers when I work on this, and that's actually makes everything way easier. Once I just accepted that I need some magnification, and it wasn't just, hey, I need magnification over the fabric, I need a little bit of magnification to read the chart too. Yeah, getting older is no fun. And I'm like, I'm not that old, but whatever. My eyes are not the most fantastic, and just it is what it is. But yeah, I was actually like pleasantly surprised with how well this filled in. The tree branches back there, they look really nice. I did finally do the math. This one is 344,000 stitches, and I have done what, 18 to 19,000. Oh, like this is 5%. I'm really hoping some of the stuff down here though, like if I ever get there, it's actually not confetti. That's the thing. This is a lot of confetti. It might be a like picture in grayscale, but it's so many different colors. It's really almost like unfun in that regards. I'm kind of hoping that there'll be some blockier stitching later on. That'd be just nice because I do get tired of the confetti. A Mirabilia you haven't seen in a little bit is Real Holiday. Here's where it was last time. Pretty pleased with the progress on this. I didn't do a large amount. I set a goal for myself for like 300 stitches in the project this month. I actually did more than 300. They're just really weird and scattered. So more of the Kreinik up here, like I'm like, oh, this all makes sense. Got a little more of the Whisper. I can't remember. I pulled the Whisper out, but I don't remember where I put it on here. But the big thing was getting all of these little bits of, I guess they're supposed to be like holly and berries that are on the cloak, and it just, I don't know. So this right here is actually like starting to look really nice. There's a tassel here that I'm filling in all the DMC so that I come back, it uses a lot of this exact same Kreinik. And I don't know, it's looking really charming. I love the colors when I pull this one out. So at first and I filled in a lot more like right here. There is a jewel on that brooch. And so it's, I don't know, it's looking really good. I love the colors. I love these greens. It looks like, this one looks like Christmas to me now. I mean, it did before because of the red, but more so now. I hope that makes sense. So, and I guess the other thing is that as I filled in a lot more through here, that you can see that it is in fact like a hood, because when I just had like a little bit here and like without the Kreinik, and it was just the couple, like it's like 434 and some others, like they're browns. I'm like, oh, I don't see it. The Kreinik made such a difference, like such an amazing difference. And it was, I don't know, it was just really cool. I'm really happy with what I got done on this, even though I didn't make it a priority. It worked out pretty well. And my last whip for this month is also Mirabilia. It's Winter Queen. Here's where it was last time. And this is my progress with her. I was really happy with what I managed to do, considering that when I talked to my last update, I mentioned I was really struggling with all the white. So one of the smart things I did was I finally pulled out the greens. I had them like they were there in the bag with the rest of this, but I didn't have all my floss drops, so I went ahead, got those. It's not a lot of green, but just these couple leaves here really helps finish up. I mean, her hair, the only thing left in her hair is the Kreinik and the beading, with the exception, there's like a little bit of hair, like blonde right there, but down here, this is done. And so that allowed me to go and honestly tackle a bunch of this white, because this was like, I don't know where the edge of it is. There's white over here. There's more white. I did not do the white in here, but I also went back and filled this. So this is actually what you can see is pretty, this is like a bunch of complete, like the edges are where I'm working off of. And since I started pulling the blue colors, I was like, well, might as well go ahead and make this skirt. So you can tell the difference. Like this is the satin right here compared to this cloak. When I sat down, I was like thinking, oh, I'm going to just be in an acre of white forever. And it really didn't end up working out that way, surprisingly. But the nice part is that figuring out when I was like, oh, I'm really burnt out on the white on white, just, I mean, it gets boring. It looks great, but I needed like some changes. So when I get to the point, I'm not going to worry, I'm not going to have this issue with white, but I'm worried like, okay, later on some of these blues is breaking it up by going up here and beading. That's what I've decided. That way I can get the beads done up top, because really most of the beads are in this part up here. There's some beads further down, but much less so compared to. So I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do is when I have stretches down here that I'm like, I'm done with, I need a change of pace, beading. I know how quickly I burn out on beading, so that'll always, like, if I start now, do a little bit of the beading, by the time I get done with everything, all the beading will be done, and I won't have had to spend a large amount of time working on any of it. So this is gonna stay in my rotation for May, because this is gonna be my focus Mirabilia. I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on the rest of them, but this is gonna be the one that every month I'm picking, just because I want her done. Like, just let's call it is, spade a spade. I just want her done. I need less whips, so I'm down to have 21 right now. I'm happy. I mean, I do have 2 finishes for the year, but I'm like, yeah, I'm really kind of hoping she's in the finishes for this year. Doubt she'll be my next one, but I'm hoping she's number 4. Okay, and in mentioning that like I said, I've done 2 finishes and 0 starts so far this year. Starteritis was rearing its head pretty badly. I think I remember saying last update that Long Dog Samplers, Death by Cross Stitch. I have the fabric, I have the floss, I have the chart, I am like ready to go. And I really thought that was gonna be like my May 1st start. It wasn't, because it's a really, really big piece. It's gonna be gorgeous when it's done, but it felt like taking on, we'll call it a big ass project. And I was like, I don't know if I need that right now. Moreover, I actually have something else I really want to get done. So last year I went on kind of a bit of a shopping binge. Still, I haven't shown you all that haul because I'm a little embarrassed. So we're just gonna pretend I didn't say that. But I picked up, actually, in this one I reopened, so you'll see. But these 3 dimensions kits. So this is Reindeer and Hedgehog. This one is Woodland Stack. And this one is Snow Bears. So I have 3 children. I want to make 3 stockings. I want to make them this year because I don't know who wants which stocking, and I'm not going to do like one and be like, oh, who's going to fight over, and if they're getting stockings, I need to have 3 done and let them figure out who wants which one, so all the naming is going to go in last. But that means if I want to get them done this year, I got to do it now. Like, it's May. I know that I can get one of these done in 3 months if I'm only kind of motivated. I'm giving myself 6 months to get all 3 done. So this one I looked at, it is a lot of white. It's not particularly difficult stitching, and a lot of it is in the half stitch. So I'm doing this one first, that's why this one was open, and in hopes that it goes fast and that it'll set that tone, that everything will be great moving forward. But yeah, so my next project I'm starting, like I said earlier this week, not what I thought I was touching at all, but it's gonna be this, and I'm gonna follow it probably with this one, the Woodland Stack, and then finish with this reindeer who's really, really cute, but it's the most cartoony, so I kind of feel like, I don't know, it seems like a nice flow. I'm really excited to do these, and I figure if I give myself 6 months, that has them done by the beginning of November, which gives, I'm gonna finish them into stockings myself, so it's not like I need to get them done for like someone else. 2 months we'll have enough time for, we don't put our stuff up before Thanksgiving, so okay, if I do this right and I plan and I put in progress, I can get these done and still work on my other projects. And when I just said that, like right now, I'm like, maybe this is too much. But I'm saying it publicly because I'd rather at least be honest, like, hey, I'm gonna, I like to jump into things, go big or go home. Sounds good. Anyway, so you will see Snow Bears next time, hopefully, with a lot of it done. So I'm kind of taking the lessons I've been learning with how I've been managing my whips so far this year, and I have found doing 8 every month has been helpful, sometimes because it forces me to like pick up a project and it's not like, oh man, Like, I may be feeling it, maybe not be feeling it, but everything has gotten actually like some like real work this year. I'm gonna say like real. I mean, everything has seen at least a couple hundred stitches. Some of it has seen a lot more. So what I'm doing is creating goals for each project at the beginning of the month. And so when I meet that goal, I can basically be like, I'm done with this project for now. And that way I can spend the time focusing on others. And for the entire month, if I can get all my goals done, then I'm allowing myself to go pick out something that maybe I want to work on that isn't in my month's draw. Like, allows me to like treat the rest of my stitching as like a bonus to go like, ooh, I want to go mess with whatever project that, again, it's not in the month's draw, but that I want to work on. And I think that's going to allow me to not get overwhelmed. I say that. It's, like I said, it's still very much I've been picking out 3 that are these are the ones I definitely want to work on. But like, for example, this month, Mick the Miller is one of those that I want to work on. But it's one that I realized that I can only get a certain amount done in the month. So when I get that amount done, I'm putting it aside and it can wait for next month. Like, I hope that makes sense. I am happy with the fact that I have managed, like I said, it's May. I've touched everything, which is more than I managed to do last year. I already have 2 finishes done. I really feel like I'm on track, honestly, for several more this year. Not even talking about the stockings, but literally just the projects that I already have. Like, at the pace that I'm going, I should see results. And that's not just wish casting. Okay, Fruit of Plenty is probably a little bit of wish casting there, but I'm gonna at least own that I know that. Like, it's a desire, not necessarily a plan. But for all the rest of it, like, Winter Queen, she's gonna get done. Like, 2 Mirabilias in a year would be fantastic. Getting small projects done, like Be Thou My Vision, it's great. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. I hope you guys have had a great week with your crafting. I'm really happy that my last week has turned out awesome, and I'm looking forward to what I'm going to get done before my next video. So I hope you guys will come back and join me then, and I will see you next time. Bye.